Welcome to Talking Bengals, Bengals site made by the fans for the fans. Check out Talking Bengals on iTunes, Google Play, Buzzsprout, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube at Talking Bengals. Now, let's join the conversation. Hello and welcome to Talking Bengals. It's episode 21. Should be a fun one this week. Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Casey. How about yourself?
Well, I'm doing good considering our trending topic the last few weeks has finally come to a head here as Joe Mixon has finally signed his rookie deal. What are your feelings?
I'm excited that he finally signed. I don't really know the whole details around it. Honestly, I didn't really research it all too much. I just know he signed. It's exciting for me knowing that a talent like Mixon has signed, knowing that he is going to be at least on the team this year. Um, I mean, it's a big thing for me. I mean, he's at least going to have a year this year to show what he can do, and I think he has enough talent to prove that he can come out and he can play every day. Um, the problem with him, I think, is going to be off the field, but like I said before, hopefully he will show that he can keep his cool and keep his head and you know stay good off the field and stay out of jail. So as long as he stays off the bad side and stays out of jail, I think Mixon is going to be a good thing. Casey.
Well, no, I agree. I think it's really awesome that they got him signed before training camp. I mean, that's pretty much all their big name rookies they now have signed. Everybody else, can kind of just fall into place as is. I'm not that worried about it. So speaking of the deal, it was 4 years worth almost $5.5 million, 5.45. So it's a good size deal for a rookie, 4 years. So he's only going to make $1 million this year, though. So I know only $1 million sounds like chump change or something, but to a professional athlete, it is. It's good for him not to make too much money right off the bat. Hopefully, keep him out of a little bit of trouble. But it showed that he was ready to commit to the team, and he can be a great asset. He's a guy that could be. I don't want to dare I say the next Corey Dillon-esque running back or something just great for the Bengals. And I really am getting more and more excited by the day for this season. I mean, I don't know if it's the cautious optimism is fading into just excitement or what, or if I'm just have my head in the clouds. But I'm just getting more and more excited about this upcoming season. I mean, the offense right now looks great. But I mean, you just got to give them a lot of credit that they're getting the rookie signed. There's nobody that really holding out. So that shows that they drafted a bunch of team players. I know Mixon has a rough past, but he wants to be part of the team. He's contributing. He's signed. He's not trying to hold out to be a superstar. He knows he has something to prove, and it looks like he's going to come out and try to prove it. So with Mixon being signed, and all the excitement I'm talking about, feeling like this could be a great year. There's still things I'm worried about, and I know there's still things that you're worried about. So right now, with pretty much all the big name rookies signed, everything kind of falling into place, our off-season training activities are going on in full swing. What is your biggest concern at this point?
If I'm going to be able to drink enough beer to get through the season, no, but on a serious note, I think that our defensive backfield is going to be hurting this year. I mean, yeah, we have Pac-Man, possibly Pac-Man coming back and Drake Kirkpatrick, but I mean, I don't think our defensive backfield is going to be as strong as what it needs to be. Obviously, our running backs and wide receivers, and as long as Andy Dalton stays healthy, I think we're going to be good on the offensive side. But there's still a lot to be proven on the defensive side, especially on the defensive line. I mean, yeah, we have Geno coming back, Dunlap, and a couple of the good defensive linemen that we have from last year that are returning. But at the same time, you're looking at a defense that hasn't really proven itself in the offseason to stay intact. So I mean, we're going to have a lot of young guys, like always, especially at linebacker crew. So hopefully we can come out with our linebacking crew and our defensive backfield and cover receivers, stop the run, from a linebacker perspective, so that way the running back doesn't get into the secondary. That way our defensive backfield don't have to make any plays in the open field to stop the large run. So I guess my biggest concern of anything at this point in time would have to be the defense. Just quite frankly, I don't think that we're ready yet.
Now the offense is very strong, but I mean I'm totally going to pull a 180 from you. I'm not as worried about the defense. I am a little bit worried about the secondary. But my biggest concern has been this entire offseason is the offensive line. I'm just not sold on, once we lost Whitworth and, geez, Pete Zeiler, goodness, I almost forgot him already. Goodbye. Bye, Felicia. But no, I'm definitely worried about, the offensive line. I'm not sure if he's going to cut it. I know we had John on here a while back, and he's like, I think Seth's going to be the guy, and I hope he's right. But I'm just really concerned. The offensive line, you bring back Andre Smith. It's a decent move, I guess. But I do think their draft plan was we don't have a great offensive line, so let's get some really great position players in a draft that's really weak on offensive line players. And that way, give Dalton some more quick options. Maybe Mixon can break through some of those tackles from bad blocking. It can make some things happen. So I think the Bengals' philosophy was just, we're not going to have a great offensive line. We can't draft a great offensive line. Whitworth didn't want to stay. So we got to just make do with what we have and try to change the game plan a little bit. So while the defensive secondary would be my biggest concern on defense would be the secondary, I'd still have to say that the offensive line is a much bigger concern at this point. But, I'm still feeling really excited. So that's the good news. We'll get into our little series we got going on with the 50th season reflection, and I think we came up with a really good person to talk about. And, a little bit further back, not as many fans may remember him, at least on the field. He did a lot of stuff off the field as well. But Reggie Williams, Nick, what do you got?
Well, Mr. Reginald Williams, I mean, we did very well with drafting him in the third round. I mean, he played 14 seasons with us, including 2 Super Bowls, the one 81, 88. He recorded 16 interceptions, 23 fumble recoveries, which is a franchise record. And during his career, he has 62.5 sacks. That's second in Bengals history. And also in his final 2 seasons with the Bengals, he was appointed to an open seat on the city council. I mean, quite frankly, what other Bengals player has actually done something like that? I mean, not only is he playing for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's representing the city throughout the entire NFL for the simple fact that, he's a Cincinnati Bengal, but he's also representing Cincinnati at the city council board. So, I mean, he's getting, he was getting his voice heard while he was playing. You get to talk to the fans, you get to see what people think, and fans actually tell players what they really think. So I think that was absolutely amazing. And even more amazing, he was elected for a second term the year after he got appointed to the city council, for the charter party tickets. So, I mean, he's received multiple honors. I mean, I don't really want to go into all of his honors because there's a lot. But, I mean, you're talking about a guy who not a whole lot of people remember, because not a whole lot of people remember a linebacker. You're going to have like Bill Romanowski being remembered just simply because of, how hard he hit and, the whole steroid controversy. You're going to have Ray Lewis being remembered just because he was quite possibly one of the hardest hitters of all time, and from the linebacker's perspective. I mean, but just an all-around great person. Reggie Williams was just somebody that we needed to talk about.
I mean, just to capitalize on what you're talking about there, I mean, a few of the honors I will mention, he made the all-rookie team in 1976. He was the Byron Whizzer White Award for humanitarian service. And he also got the Walter Payton Man of the Year in 1986. And those are just huge. And Sports Illustrated also named him, the Co-Sportsman of the Year in 1987. So what does that tell me? He contributes on the field and off the field, like you talked about doing on the city council. That's just awesome. I mean, he's also an Ivy League scholar. Went to Dartmouth, and he, aside from just playing football, He also had a small stint there as a boxer. So he did quite a few interesting things. I mean, or wrestling. Sorry, not boxing, wrestling. But he just did a lot of interesting things. I didn't even realize that, a place that I've been many times and my family loves quite a bit is Walt Disney World. He was one of the founding members of the Wide World of Sports at Walt Disney World. So, I mean, that's just he's just had an incredible life. And, just so many things. People always say, an athlete, what do you do after football? Well, I think he's made greater contributions off the field. Not that he wasn't great on the field, but he's made so many things happen off the field. I mean, he's been involved in youth activities. He's been involved at, like I said, Disney World. He's just a great humanitarian and just a great person. And, to have that kind of person be part of your franchise and wanting to be part of your city is just an amazing thing. And, this is what we're talking about, remembering these players, these guys that, maybe people don't remember as much, but they're great Bengals. And this 50th season, we need to remember all those great Bengals. So, Reggie Williams, you are our salute this week. Thank
Especially
you
playing his entire career with us.
Exactly, yeah. So thank you for not going anywhere but Cincinnati. The city of Cincinnati loves you and salutes you. So thank you for all you do. Moving on to our favorite topic. It's going to be a good one this week, roast it or boast it. So Joe Mixon's the hot topic this week because we're still in the off season, and that's about the only thing interesting that happened other than OTAs, and we can't do videos for this podcast. So with Joe Mixon signing, the running back core is better than the wide receiver core. Roasted or boasted?
I'm going to roast it. I mean, we have A.J. Green, arguably the best wide receiver in the league at this point. I mean, he cuts on a dime. He could, get open, being double covered in a phone booth. To quote a Chad Johnson quote, with how he thinks the top notch. He is the receiver in the league. As long as Andy Dalton puts it anywhere in his area, AJ Green will catch the ball. I mean, you can't compare a Mixon with an AJ Green, just for the simple fact that, I mean, AJ Green is somebody who is going to be double covered every down. He's not going to be someone who's left just single coverage, and it doesn't matter who the cornerback is. It could be the best cornerback in the league. You're still going to have a safety there to double cover him over top, you're going to have a linebacker coming in underneath so that way he doesn't get the flats. I mean, just quite frankly, you can't even argue, in my mind, the difference between our wide receiver core and our running back core. Jeremy Hill, he's had his problems. Gio, he's had his problems. I love them both to death. And then you add Joe Mixon in, which, I mean, it's a tough argument to say that wide receiver core is going to be better, but I'm going to say it. I think that wide receiver core is going to be better this year. I mean, we got John Ross coming in. We have a couple no-namers from colleges that, people just quite frankly didn't think we're going to make it in the draft. And I think that we're going to be a strong wide receiver core this year. There's a lot of competition there. So I think it's going to be good. I think both sides are going to be good, but I think wide receiver is going to be better.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just say it. I'm going to roast it as well. But this is a great problem to have. I mean, when you're talking, the running backs are so talented, the receivers are so talented, that's a great problem to have. It's not like years past we're like, wow, well, we don't really have a running back. We don't really have any receivers other than maybe, this Chad Johnson kid that's coming up. I mean, I remember back in the 01, 02 before Chad really came up and got big, and he was like Peter Warrick, Craig East, and a whole bunch of other no-name receivers being thrown to by no-name quarterbacks with poor Corey Dillon. And that was like the only thing he had to look forward to. And then if Dillon was hurt like he was there for a while one of the seasons, we didn't even have a running back that came in to back him up. It was like a fullback that came in and ran for a while. So it's just great to have this kind of problem. Being able to talk about, man, I wish our great running back core and our great receiver core, which one are we going to talk about more? Who cares? As long as they score touchdowns and win games, it's a win-win for Bengals fans. So, I mean, this is definitely the problem that you want to have. You want to have so much talent that it's hard to decide what's going to be better, receivers or running backs. I mean, tight ends, we hope one of them's healthy this year. That'd be great. And then, you can even throw tight end in the argument. But no, I think it's going to be the receivers at this point. You got A.J. Green, like you said, enough said there. John Ross, he's going to be good. I think Tyler Boyd's going to come out and have a better season, but Cody Core is going to be your standout wide receiver out of nowhere. Nobody's really going to expect him to do great things, and he will. I mean, your guy out of Tennessee, maybe he'll stick around. I don't know. Maybe they'll cut him after the first week of training camp. I don't know. It's a Tennessee guy.
You just had to roast my Tennessee guy. You had to bring it in, and I know it. It was just killing you. You know you had to bring it up. I think my Tennessee guy is going to come out and he's going to at least be a 4 receiver. I think he's going to be good off the bench. Maybe give AJ a break. Maybe even Cody Core's a break. But I mean, it's a really great problem to have. Like you said, I mean, you can't talk about it enough that how awesome it is to have 3 good running backs and at the very minimum 3 good wide receivers. I mean 3 receivers that could possibly be game changers. So I mean, like you said earlier in the show tonight, I think this cautious optimism's turning into just pure excitement. I mean, I can't wait for the season. It's starting to burn me alive, man.
So I guess burning you alive. I know this offseason just seems to be taking forever. But moving on to our next topic, I had to rack my brains a little bit trying to come up with a few more roasted or boasted topics because it's been a pretty just blah week. Mixon signing great, OTAs okay, but not a whole lot to really talk about. So I had to kind of rack my brain and dig deep for this topic. And maybe it's one that nobody cares about but us. But Jeff Blake is the best Bengals quarterback to not make a playoff appearance. Roasted or boasted?
Oh, what the hell? Nobody's listening anyway, right? Jeff Blake being the best Bengals quarterback to never make the playoffs. I mean, I gotta boast it. I don't know of anybody else that played for the Bengals for as long as Jeff Blake did and didn't make the playoffs at the very least, or at least had a decent season. I mean, the guy was short. He was, I guess, quick. He could scramble a little bit. Yeah, it's such a hard topic, Casey. You scrambled a little too hard on that one, I think. A little play on words with Jeff Blake. He scrambled way too much. Oh, he could not stay in a pocket. I don't know. I'm just going to stop it there. Casey, I'll let you respond.
I'm going to have to boast as well. I mean, he was a very quality quarterback for that 96, half of the 96 season there where they went 7 out of 8 games and won them. But, yeah, Jeff Blake, made the Pro Bowl in 95. What he was known for doing was just bombing the ball. I mean, he had a great arm for a small guy. And you had 2 receivers in Pickens and Darnay Scott that you could just lob it up there and they'd run under it. And Pickens was tall, Darnay Scott was tall. So you could just make that happen. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think of anybody else that had a long career at the Bengals didn't make the playoffs. Achilles Smith, 2 seasons. Scott Mitchell, 1 season. Gus Frerotte, 1 season. Neil O'Donnell was, I think, right after Jeff Blake there for a couple seasons, and he wasn't very good either. We picked up garbage from other teams like Neil O'Donnell, Gus Frerotte, and what's his face I just mentioned a minute ago. Yeah, not really great people to have.
John Kitna.
Kitna didn't make it as a starting quarterback, but he did lose us a playoff game. So I think you can't count him as not making a playoff game after Carson went down. He couldn't hold off the Steelers, and neither could the defense. But, yeah, so you can't count Kitna. Who else can you think of?
I really can't think of anybody. I mean, Gus Frerotte, I mean, the only reason I remembered his name is because of how unique it was. Frerotte. I never heard of the last name Frerotte before. I mean, Achilles Smith, I mean, the only reason I remembered him was, I mean, he was, I don't know. I don't even know why I remember his name, to be quite honest with you. I mean, Jeff Blake, he scrambled a lot and he kind of made plays out of nothing, but he also didn't really have anybody else on the team with him to do anything other than Darnay Scott and Carl Pickens. So I mean, he made the best of what he got. So you got to have his name there. I don't think there's anybody else you can put.
Well, I'd have to agree with you. I mean, kind of maybe a one-sided slanted topic there. I mean, David Klingler. Who doesn't love David Klingler? What a great draft pick he was. But moving on to our next topic, another off-season just gem that we can discuss for a few minutes. So when it comes to people who don't live in the local area, such as yours truly, it's very hard to watch your favorite team on Sundays. So there's very limited options. You can either go with NFL Sunday Ticket, which you might as well just sell your firstborn child to afford that, or you can go with, what is it, GameSpot or whatever it is, the NFL thing that's like you can watch it that night. So not a lot of great options. And I just wanted to think, I will get your input on this. Is NFL Sunday Ticket a ripoff? Roasted or boasted?
Boast that. It is a complete ripoff. I mean, you can go to ESPN.com and watch almost every single game you ever wanted to watch live. All you got to do is have a laptop or a desktop or your cell phone. I mean, everybody has a cell phone these days. Obama gave everybody cell phones. So, I mean, seriously, come on. Use your Obama phone or the phone you paid for or the laptop or computer you have and watch it on ESPN or the ESPN Go app or whatever. It's all free. I mean, you don't have to pay for it. I mean, if you have like Time Warner Cable or Spectrum, whatever the heck it's called now, or Cincinnati Bell-Fi Optics or Dish Network or DirecTV, all you have to do is use your login and you get it on ESPN free. Or you can go to CBS Sports, use your login, and you get it for free as well. So, I mean, to say NFL Ticket is a ripoff, I mean, that's an understatement. They want you to pay way too much just to watch a darn football game that you can watch for free anywhere else. I mean, heck, I could live stream it on Facebook Live if I wanted to, for God's sakes.
I might have you do that Facebook Live thing because I definitely think it's a ripoff. But I mean, the videos you're talking about, it's usually not a complete game, though. You can watch some stuff live, but the NFL keeps a real tight, like close grip on what you can actually see live. So it's not going to be the entire game. It'll be bits and pieces and parts or a condensed version. And that's just annoying. I wish that, that the NFL is a lot more like the MLB. So the NFL, you get an NFL Sunday Ticket or the other one I talked about from NFL.com. You can watch every game. There is one game a week that I care about. That's the Bengals game. I don't need to watch, every single NFL game. That's ridiculous. I mean, if I'm really bored and, my wife's gone and I can just take some time after the Bengals game and watch another football game, maybe. Usually I don't have that kind of time anyway. But with MLB, like a network or MLB.com, I can watch every Reds game, just the Reds game, and it costs me like $50 a year. So that's every single game except for like 5 of them I can watch. And the ones I can't watch, I can listen to. So for $50, I mean, that's a great return on investment. How many baseball games are 162? If they could make the playoffs, even more. Also got World Baseball Classic I could watch and, all the spring training games. So, yeah, NFL, you're like way far behind. I think you're going to start losing more and more business because people don't want to watch every game. They're not fans of the league. They're fans of a team. So, yeah, definitely going to have to boast it as a giant waste of money. And, we're getting close to our final thoughts. And Nick, I'm going to let you lead off final thoughts this week.
My final thoughts, I guess I want to lead off with the simple fact that I am excited to see what our running back crew and what our wide receiver crew can do with the young offensive line that we have, and see how everybody can just coexist out on the football field. I want to see what a real Bengals football family on the field looks like. I would really love to see them work as one unit, both offense, defense, and special teams. I guess that'd be all three. That wouldn't be just both, but I mean, I just want to see what everybody looks like as a team. I mean, I think it would be a great cohesion, and just quite frankly, I think that we have a team this year that could come together and be something actually pretty good. I really hate saying that because I don't want to jinx it, but I mean, just looking at everybody, I think that, Obuehi and a couple of the other offensive linemen that we have, I think that they could actually turn out to be really good as long as we stay healthy. I mean, I guess that's something that we say every year, but I mean, at the same time, as long as we stay healthy, um, and we continue to have that competition at the spots, I think that our team could actually be a real playoff contender. I mean, even into an actual, AFC title, if not maybe more. Um, there's potential, but then again, we are the Bengals.
Yeah, you said that as such a Bengals fan. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to, say something and then something bad happens. I mean, yeah, that's just kind of the life and the plight that we've had as Bengals fans. If something's going right, you can't change seats. If someone's in the bathroom when a good play happens, you make them stay in the bathroom. I know one of my older sisters, she would go to the bathroom and something good happens, we tell her to go right back, and she'd be stuck there for half the game. But final thoughts this week. I don't know. I gotta try to come up with something good, and I've been thinking about it, and it's just I'm just excited like you are. It's been a very, I would say, quiet off season, but a good quiet part of the off season. We had all the Adam Jones drama early on. We lost a lot of people to free agency. And even though I wasn't very happy with the draft to begin with, I'm like I said, the excitement. It's just starting to become excitement. Usually the last like 4 or 5 seasons, I've been like, okay, are we finally going to win the playoff game this year? Oh my gosh. And like I'd be nervous and almost like too nervous to even enjoy football. And this season, I don't know. I have a feeling, maybe it's the 50th season reflections, just bringing back, a whole bunch of good players and memories and, things that we can just enjoy about being Bengals fans. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but I really am. I'm just like legitimately excited at this point. I hope everybody stays healthy so we can, not have if he wouldn't have got hurt his rookie year speech that we've gotten with so many players, Kajana Carter's, Kenny Irons, people like that. I just want the rookies to stay healthy. I want our stars to stay healthy. And I want people to just go out there and enjoy the game of football. I don't want to be second guessing, Marvin Lewis staying around. I don't want to be second guessing Andy Dalton. I'm just excited right now, and I want this team to do great things. So that's going to wrap it up for us this week. Check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Buzzsprout. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And I am Casey. Have a wonderful week from Talking Bengals. Hoo-day.
Hoo-day!